Dear friends in Christ, today, Sunday, the 25th Sunday in the ordinary time, as we reflect upon the readings, both from the Old Testament and the New Testament, it is important that we continue to change our thought patterns. God said through the prophet Isaiah, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are not your ways." This was made very clear in the parable Jesus gave in the Gospel. This parable further showed that God thinks and acts differently from us. Which kind of landowner goes searching for laborers at the 9th hour and even the 11th hour? Which kind of landowner pays such laborers the same thing he pays those who started work at daybreak? If you calculate, you can see that those who were hired at the 11th hour worked only 1 hour, while the first people worked more than 8 hours. The logic of calculation is not the way we humans think. Our thoughts are very narrow compared to that of God. These readings, friends in Christ, invite us to adjust our thinking to be more like that of God. This is because our way of thinking can lead to either happiness or frustration in our lives. Our thought pattern can build us up or tear us apart. The men who came first in this parable got angry, not that they were cheated, but they felt cheated. What led to their frustration was their thought pattern and perception. If they had perceived the landowner as a very generous man worthy of emulation, they would have still been happy and thanked him for being generous. But they were thinking in terms of self-interest. They thought that by being first, their salary would be more than that of those who came later. We see this thought pattern when people begin to compare themselves with others. We often get bitter because our classmates are richer than us, not that we are actually not rich. Classmate is not life mate, and we are not blessed according to age. We are unique, blessed and wonderful in our own different ways. We get frustrated because those we think we are better than seem to be performing better in life than us. I have seen school children rejoicing because the boy that used to take first position in their class took second position. Yes, we often celebrate when people who have been better than us experience some failures or challenges as if their failures meant our success. We even broadcast their failures as if it is our achievement. I have seen a woman insulted and bully another woman that she gave birth through cesarean operation, as if giving birth through operation makes the child or less human. This, our human way of thinking, has led to all sorts of fake lives and even self-destruction. People put on borrowed appearances in order to avoid being bullied or in order to bully others. People get depressed, frustrated, and even kill themselves, either physically or emotionally, because they were busy looking at what is happening in other people's lives instead of being grateful for what they have received. When we understand this simple truth, that no one owes us anything, even God owes us nothing, we would become appreciative for what we have and whom we are. We should be thinking more of people who are less fortunate than us, not to bully them, but to bring them up, build them up, enrich and empower them in as much as we can. If you cannot help others to become better, at least do not add to their pains. Do not try to puncture people's happiness simply because you are not happy. Do not bully people for any reason. Wishing others failure because you have failed is the beginning of witchcraft. You can still support others even if you are not succeeding. There is nice saying that those who pull others down in order to rise will have destruction waiting for them at the peak of their success. Modeling our thought patterns on that of God helps us to avoid selfishness, greed, envy, bitterness, ingratitude, depression, frustration, and wickedness. Those who model their thoughts on God's pattern find joy and strength even in the most frustrating situations of life. There are people whose lives are really challenging, but they have been able to pull through tragedies and obstacles and could destroy lives by thinking positively, by focusing on the great things of their lives, by looking for that spark of God inside them and nourishing it to greater flame. It has been clearly demonstrated that most of the things we suffer are as a result of our thought patterns and not really what happened to us. This simply means that if we could change our thought patterns, most of our sufferings and frustrations will disappear, and we will find happiness and serenity. May God continue to give us the grace to rewire our thoughts and reprogram our minds according to His pattern. May we find strength in the joy of the Lord. As we go about our chores this new week, friends in Christ, let us not forget in a hurry, God's ways are not our ways. Sometimes we try to pull God to act and operate in our human level. We question Him when things do not go the way we expect them to. We accuse Him like Habakkuk, especially in Habakkuk chapters number 1, of being too slow and keeping silent when we are oppressed and unjustly treated. But today, He reminds us that His ways are not our ways. God does not answer us based on how much time, resources, or spiritual capital we have invested in His service, but on how much they align with His will, His grace, and His mercy. Similarly, salvation is not won by our time of arrival in God's service, but remaining there until His time of divine settlement. Therefore, let us be patient in dealing with God because His ways are not our ways. May God bless His woes in our hearts and make us to experience His divine mercy and understand the power of His great love for all of us. Amen.